Open your eyes.
If you are wondering why everything going on in the world feels so terribly off, then you have come to the right place. A veil has been put over the eyes of humanity. Evil people in high places have been hiding the truth in plain sight and building a false reality on lies and deception for far too long. And now, their time is coming to an end. It's time to fight back, to wake up, and to begin an uprising. Now is a time for judgment.
This is a time for judgment. Welcome to today's show. We all know about the censorship that's going on all across the internet. Everybody's dealing with it and has been dealing with it for years. I know somebody who used to have a channel, I forget what it was called, something about an uprising, who is a very popular YouTuber who had to make about 25 channels that got shut down over a 2-year span. Fire Rises channel, lots of stuff like that. But, he doesn't want to complain about it. But you get the point. Censorship has been running rampant. Now, I know a lot of you out there have dealt with it on Facebook and Twitter, whatever social media sites that you're on with, just sharing articles. And I don't know how we're allowing this to occur here in America, but it's going to get to a point where the people are going to revolt. And they are going to go after all of these big tech companies. And they're going to go after these politicians who are enabling them. Take a look at PayPal. PayPal, not deleting accounts. We've all heard about PayPal deleting accounts. Me personally, I don't have a PayPal account because I got mine deleted because, they didn't like what I was posting on social media. Well, you might have that happen to you, but guess what? PayPal is now telling its users that instead of just deleting their accounts, that they're going to fine them. So in other words, you might go into your empty PayPal account and have a debt for $2,500 for misinformation. That's right. So if they see you with your name associated or affiliated with maybe this channel, maybe another channel, or maybe just something that you post on Facebook, they're going to take your account and freeze it until you pay a $2,500 fine. You can't make it up.
Well, after significant backlash, PayPal says a controversial policy it put out last week was a mistake.
The popular Cash App initially said it would fine users who promoted misinformation. Natalie, back with what they're saying now.
Yeah, they're saying, never mind. PayPal feeling the ripple effect from this today. Its stock's taking a significant dip. Last week, the company expanded its use policy to include prohibiting customers from sending, posting, or publishing any messages, content, or materials that promote misinformation. It included a $2,500 fine for each violation.
So after getting called out on this, of course, PayPal backtracked, but there was no hiding it because it was in the fine print. So when it's in the fine print and you actually read it and look at it, which they don't expect anyone to do, because they just make up laws and rules as they go. And then all the liberal people out there who are completely mentally brain dead, they go, oh, they're allowed to do that. They're a private company. They're allowed to do that. They can do what they want to do. And somehow these companies, people don't realize that this government, what it's doing and how it's selling itself to corporations, it's really just a corporation in control or corporations in control and no longer a government. And now they're dictating what you can and can't say, what your opinion has to be. I mean, this is communism and this is America. And somehow we're allowing it to happen. The people in control hate the country, they hate capitalism, and they hate the people in it. Yet there's still people who vote for these people, who want these people in power and don't see what the bigger picture is, which is about total control. It's 1984, like I said, on steroids. So a new policy in PayPal's fine print triggered a storm of outrage over apparent plans to impose, starting on November 3rd, a hefty fine of $2,500 anytime one of its 429 million consumers and merchants express what the corporate brass deems to be misinformation. So I'm pretty sure that would be anything that I say and anything that you guys probably say, since we all have similar opinions on most of the stuff going on. And if you don't like Big Brother shoving it in your rear, if you don't like Big Brother taking away your right to free speech, well, then they're going to fine you if you complain and you don't behave like communist China. If you complain with what they're doing to you, if you don't like enslavement, then you're going to be fine. Now, on the other side of it, of course, nobody's going to pay this fine of $2,500 at all. But what will end up happening is you'll get frozen out of your account. So just say, hypothetically, that you make your income through PayPal, or you need PayPal to send money between family members or friends or whatever you might use it for, yeah, they're going to freeze it and not allow you to use it. So if you have money in that account, they will just take it and they will assume that you will not sue them because you won't be able to afford to sue them. Now, they're backtracking on it. Well, of course they are. Their stock plummeted big time. And people out there, how they don't see what's going on is really beyond me at this point. If you can't see what these corporations and this government is doing here in America. And these people are like, well, I think everybody's mean and, the Republican people are mean and we need to care about people's feelings. Oh, okay. So does that matter more to you when you're enslaved? Because you're going to be enslaved before you know it. And then once you're enslaved, there's no turning back because you're going to have given up our rights and you're going to have forced other people to give up their rights because your opinion and your feelings were butthurt. So PayPal quickly apologized over the weekend for what it called confusion. It was all just an error, but not before. How is it just an error? It's in your fine print, which means that you went through a process with a legal team. You knew every single thing that was in it. This isn't like some Joe Schmo plumbing company, and even they would go through everything in the fine print before they have somebody sign a waiver or sign an agreement, a terms of service. Yeah, you didn't know it was in the fine print, I'm sure. It just got through the cracks at PayPal, one of the biggest companies in the world. So PayPal quickly apologized over the weekend for what it called confusion, claiming it was all just an error, but not before criticism from a number of high-profile individuals, including its own former president, David Marcus. Marcus took to Twitter to say the new acceptable use policy was insanity that forced him to come forward and criticize his previous employer, where he worked for 3 years from 2011 to after former PayPal owner eBay acquired a company he founded and joined it with the payment service. So this is, it's pretty amazing to me that people who are anti-people like me and you, because they don't agree with us, are okay with censoring us because they don't realize that the censorship's going to come their way at some point. That's why I don't call for censorship of other people. I don't call for censorship of people who don't like me. I don't call for censorship of people who do videos about me or whatever. I just don't care. And there was a time when I started out on YouTube a couple of years ago, and some stuff would bother me in the beginning. And then you just realize that, who cares? Who cares? And then when you see the way the world's going, you realize they want you to get upset about stuff because they want you to censor each other out. That's what it's about. Everybody canceling each other out. You can't say this, I can't say that, back and forth, back and forth. That's why with, the censorship and what they do with Christianity and Jesus, I constantly talk about it because if somebody's anti, the Bible, that's their problem. I don't call for those people to be censored, but they shouldn't call for us to be censored, but they do. They're like, well, you can't say anything that you believe in because it's bigotry and it's hateful. Huh? Oh, but you could say the same thing about, Jesus Christ. You could mock and do all these. Oh, yeah, well, they're allowed to because you're the big bully. It's all up to interpretation. It's all up to somebody's personal opinion. I could say that people bully me and get them censored, but I don't because I have a pair of balls. But we live in a society where the majority of people don't have any balls. They have nothing. They have empty sacks. And they walk around and they go, I don't like what he says, so we should censor him. Oh, now we have big tech companies, not just deleting PayPal accounts, fining you. In other words, they're going to suck money. If you have a credit card hooked up to PayPal, they're going to suck $2,500 off your credit card. And then you're going to have to fight it by calling your bank, and your bank is highly likely not going to reverse the charge. They're going to say, hey, you had your credit card hooked up to it. What are you calling for? Oh, you're going to call fraud? They're going to say, well, look, read the terms of service on the PayPal website. And then nobody will have read the terms of service, so I'm covering the video. Now, they might backtrack on it temporarily because of the pushback that they got, but we all know that all these tech companies are going to start doing this stuff. A couple years ago, I covered how if you call somebody by the wrong gender in certain cities in this world, if you call somebody by the wrong gender, so if Caitlyn Jenner is walking down the street and you call it a really ugly dude, you could be fined and taken to court. That's how insane this world is becoming. And people don't realize it's not about your feelings. They don't care about your feelings if you're trans or you're non-trans. It's about control. And that's the only thing it's ever been about for them, is control. Controlling your behavior, controlling your thoughts, controlling what you do, controlling your movement, everything. And while we all cross each other out by censoring one another, they're going to get what they want at the end of the day, and they're going to point to us and say that we did it to each other, and they had to come in and do what was best for everybody, so people didn't hurt one another's feelings. They have watered down our society. They have feminized men. I mean, if you just look at some of the men out there, I mean, it's embarrassing. Put on The Bachelor or one of those shows and look at the men and how they act and how they behave. They go on a date. I'm in love. They're wearing spandex jeans. They're wearing makeup. And people don't really, they're like, oh, you're just being judgmental. No, this is demasculinity. I mean, they're taking men and they're weakening them. And a society with weakened men is a society with nothing. It's a dead society. And that's what they want. And they tell you, oh, let me be an alpha male. Oh, you're trying to be an alpha. Everyone's trying to be a tough. Men are just men. And the more feminized men become, the more the government gets control over our society. This kind of stuff would never have happened, 200 years ago. There'd be a revolution. There'd be a war by now. The people would fight back. They'd be like, absolutely not. You're taxing me on what? You're doing what to me? You're censoring my free speech? You're taking my job away because I don't get a magic potion? None of it would be going on. But because of what they're doing to men, and this pretty much just means liberal men who identify as liberal, even though I don't believe in the left and right, men with liberal ideologies are weak. And they're pretty useless in society. But in this world of complaining and control, they serve a purpose for Big Brother, because they're the ones who are going to usher in this one world government of control. So PayPal, just another one of these tech companies, no big deal, nothing to see here. Just censoring people's right to speech and fining them on top of it. And what are you going to do about it? Well, they say nothing. And this is pretty much how this socialist, Marxist, communist, call it what you want, satanic global cabal operates, like a bunch of pansies, like their master Satan is. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless all of you and your families.